Well, the first Oscar bait movie of this brand new award season is finally here. But is it worth it? Should the Academy take the bait? I really hope not. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Zack, and I love talking about cinema and all things entertainment. As always, I really do appreciate you guys stopping by, and I really hope you enjoy your stay, because this time around, we're checking out Stillwater, which was written and directed by Tom McCarthy. This is the man who brought you a movie called Spotlight a few years ago, a movie I clearly liked, so much so it won Best Picture, and I went and bought the Blu-ray, and it stars one of my favorite actors of all time, Matt Damon. What could possibly go wrong? Damon plays an American oil rig worker named Bill Baker who travels to Marseille, France to visit his estranged daughter played by Abigail Breslin, who is studying abroad. But she's since wound up in prison for a murder she claims she didn't commit. Bill is confronted with language barriers, cultural differences, and a complicated legal system. But he soon builds a new life for himself as he makes it his personal mission to clear her name. So I went into this movie completely blank, guys. A friend of mine really wanted to see it. I decided to tag along. And as soon as the credits hit, I gotta say, we both kind of had the same reaction. What the hell was that? Look, everybody, I walked into this movie with just the slightest amount of optimism. As I've alluded to, Tom McCarthy has proven himself to be a good director with a movie like Spotlight, such a gripping movie. Spotlight is almost treated like a thriller, and it's for sure an extremely important movie to watch today in 2021, I feel. And I'll say here in Stillwater, the direction and the cinematography is at least good. It's a very competently made film. The shot composition is decent enough. And I think what most people are gonna remember about this movie after it's over, yeah, say it with me, it's Matt Damon. The dude's done it again, and this is a guy who's very picky about his projects lately. And it's crystal clear that the dude is acting his heart out in this film. His accent and his look and the gait of his character, Damon is almost unrecognizable in a lot of ways. I mean, yes, there's points watching Stillwater where you'll look into his eyes and clearly see it's Matt Damon there, but he completely transforms himself in this film. He was absolutely terrific. Oscar-worthy, I might add. Will he make the final list of Best Actor nominees? I don't know. But just saying, once that time arrives, don't be surprised if you see the Academy put his name on the list. But all the actors in this film I thought were wonderful. I love the relationship that the script establishes with Damon's character Bill and this French woman Virginie and her daughter Maya. Not only was the chemistry there between these three, but there were definitely a few tear-jerking moments involving this little girl that just had me thinking, God, where were these scenes earlier? Because these were all super effective. Now, speaking of effective, I thought the strongest parts of this story were the first and the second act. It was creating a pretty compelling mystery, I'm not gonna lie here. I was actually finding myself really getting into it. And I was really digging how relentless Damon was on this road to redemption to clear his daughter's name. That part was really amazing. But then the turn of the third act comes around, and that's the part where, for me, Stillwater unfortunately falls off a big gigantic cliff. Now, with all of this out of the way, it's time to address one of the biggest complaints I heard about this film going in, if not the biggest complaint, and that's the treatment of Abigail Breslin's character. Before you go off in the comments, don't think I'm knocking Abigail Breslin, she's very good in the movie. I will say she's grown up quite a bit into a very mature performer in her own right, and I really did buy Damon and Breslin as a father-daughter pairing, and both of them share some pretty moving scenes together as well. One of which involving a graveyard where Breslin was so incredibly real in that moment. But from what I've read and the research going into this film, the character of Allison is based off of this real girl named Amanda Knox. Now, for those of you who don't know, Amanda Knox was a woman wrongfully committed of murder. And what I'm about to get into is quite the spoiler, so I'm warning you just in case, because I can't really get into my big issue with this film without spoiling what I'm about to spoil. So just in case you don't even want the slightest spoiler for Stillwater, I fairly warned you. The gist of Knox's quotes that I came across in my research essentially boils down to this. She recently slams this movie for pretty much running her name through the mud. And perhaps even more egregiously, she criticized the movie for erasing any sort of innocence that she had left. And with that knowledge in mind walking into this theater, I'm not afraid to admit, I was watching Abigail Breslin's character like a hawk. And it really sucks that this movie soured on me by its conclusion, because I was really getting into the family dynamic. I was really pulling for Matt Damon to bring justice for his daughter. But then when you get the themes of accepting your fate thrown into the mix, it really kind of pisses me off. I'm not gonna lie, once this movie slammed to black, I was sitting there quite flabbergasted and bamboozled. The movie didn't go the route I wanted it to go, and the way certain characters discuss these themes of acceptance and hope and what have you, I was getting very flustered by it, because this film previously made me sit through 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is a very long runtime for this movie, might I add. But then you have these characters saying all this work that Matt Damon's character was putting into it to free his daughter, essentially. None of that work mattered. In a sense, in short, they wasted my time. And me and my friend were just sitting there like, what the f***, man? So clearly, guys, yeah, I was very, very disappointed with Stillwater, which technically speaking, and this is the harshest, like, oh, man, this is why I'm so frustrated, because technically speaking, this is a very well put together film. Matt Damon is incredible. It's directed really well, and there are some compelling, mysterious crime elements in this film. But Stillwater is certainly not on the level of Spotlight, and it's got one of the most aggravating third acts you'll ever sit through, and quite possibly one of the most frustrating endings of the entire year. All that in mind, I'm gonna give Stillwater a C+. I get the feeling that this is gonna be a very polarizing film. Some people are really gonna dig the family drama and Matt Damon's shockingly real turn, but others are just gonna straight up despise this film for how it concludes, pretty much negating everything that happened before then. But I'm curious, what did you guys think of Stillwater? Did you hate it? Did you love this movie? Do you guys think it's gonna be a contender for some Oscars at the end of the year? And I'm also curious, what is your guys' favorite crime drama of all time? Feel free to make some noise down in the comments section below, and I would love to have a further discussion with you all. If you guys are enjoying this content, and if you guys want to continue discussing these topics with me, do consider hitting that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. It is totally free, and it really, really helps me get this content out there. You know what else really helps me get it out there is hitting that thumbs up on your way out. That would be incredible. And as always, guys, look out for more exciting content hitting this channel very, very soon. You guys are the best. And with all that being said, back talk, commence!